Hello, Mordarim here. Today with an early game build guide for the Mage archetype for Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon. I have had early access to this magnificent game and put together something mighty fine for you. A true S-tier experience, crushing everything the game throws at you with a multitude of amazing spells. I will provide you with a step-by-step walkthrough on how to grab every spell, every piece of gear, and showcase you the might of magic on the hardest difficulty. Without further delays, the main juice you will be using early is a simple tiny fireball. We want to fix that as soon as possible by rushing to the main gates of the Horns of the South. Run inside the alchemist's shop and rip the newly added chain lightning spell out of his hands. This will set you back 400 gold, so make sure to have that on hand. I recommend going for a few stat points into practicality to get more gold for your stuff. This spell will be your bread and butter for the next few levels, until you get your hands on the ice shotgun, a ragdoll inducing mini nuke, and a better purple chain lightning, as well as Merlin's thorns for some extra power accessible early. The last spell can be exchanged for a heal found at the merchant in the town, or a glorious fire wave, which sadly needs 18 spirituality, which is quite restrictive for the power it provides you with. Now, the gameplay variety with the repertoire of spells you have access to is amazing, and it's incredibly fun to use given you have 4 loadouts to play with. This build utilizes wands in the offhand, giving you access to a block as well as other spell enhancing effects. But you could also use cubes or a second spell to expand your available tools even further. As for armor, 1.0 added a ton of variations for the Mage archetype with new sets all over the lands of Avalon. You can grab most of them very early on without having to fight too many enemies. There is a lot of drip to be had here, so buckle up. We are now diving into the stats. Now, if you like what I do and want to support me, make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you have not already. I cover all sorts of RPGs, speed strategy, CRPG on this channel in the form of extensive guides. So thank you very much for the support, and let's dive into the meat. For the attributes, you want to grab a bit of practicality first for some much needed cash flow. You start with a multiplier of 0.1. So just 1 point will double the cash you get from items. Put in 1 point here to double your funds early. Afterwards, you want to put 1 point into endurance. This will ensure that you can equip your first armor set, the Traveler's Pants and Boots. Those will provide you with a bit of movement speed out of combat, which is quite great early. Next, we'll want to put 6 points into spirituality to equip the Spellslinger set and be able to use our first advanced spell, the Winter's Crone's Wrath. We will want to combine it with the Wand of Piercing Cold, which requires 8 spirituality, and next we are going to move a bit into the territory of weight capacity and health, as well as access to the Waning Moon set, which brings us to 6 endurance. All points afterwards go into spirituality until 12, so you can access all the armor and spells accessible to us, and get practicality afterwards to 6, so you now have funds. Once you have reached this threshold, focus on spirituality as well as perception afterwards to increase the damage and mana regen even further. Next up, let's go over the spells. Now, we are going to start our journey with the Burning Ember. This spell can be acquired very early on once you create your character by talking to a specific NPC that asks you what archetype you are. Make sure to tell him that you are going to burn down trees, or that you would rather burn down trees, and you will receive Burning Ember 1 time. The second Burning Ember you will receive inside the dungeon, inside the asylum, next to some infected right on a stretcher. On one of the sides you will find a table with the sheet of paper that is Burning Ember. So now you can dual wield Burning Ember and throw 2 charge attacks at enemies. Really nifty at the start, but we want to really get rid of the spell as soon as possible because we now have Flicker Bolt. Flicker Bolt is a new spell, costs basically no mana, and is also an AoE by jumping between multiple enemies. The charge attack is really strong. Now the spell costs 400 gold, so you're going to spawn at this location. You run and follow those roads until you reach the east gate, run past it inside the Horns of the South. We are now at the gate. You want to follow the staircase, run underneath this arc, and inside this room. Here you will find this alchemist, Jan Heber, and you can buy multiple spells here. You can buy Burning Ember, you can buy the Lash spell, and you can buy the Hailstorm. The Hailstone spell is really nice, but I prefer to have the Arclash. It's reliable AoE at low mana cost, and there is not many resistant enemies with it. I haven't been able to find a second Flicker Bolt, but I'm sure there is one. For now, you're going to pair this one with a Staff of Ophira or a Silent Weaver Staff. The Silent Weaver Staff can just be dug out. There's going to be a spot to dig something, at this location. We're going to start at the east gate, run past all those enemies or clear them with your arc spell. You're going to have no issues here. Walk through this hole in the wall, follow the road, and next to the spire you will find a dig spot right here. You can find the wand right here. For the staff with spell power, you will find the King's Road bridge right here. Underneath this bridge is going to be an noble in this camp right here. Here's only a desperate peasant, but we can ragdoll him away. There is also some wolf. Oop, and it's gone. But there will be a noble right here. So this noble doesn't respawn, so you can kill him. It's a unique enemy, and he will drop additionally to the staff I have previously shown. Also the Faded Hood. Now the Faded Hood has a spirituality requirement of 5. So for now you won't be able to equip it, but you will have it in your inventory. It's 10 spell power. That's pretty good at the start of the game. Next up there is Flame Torrent. Flame Torrent is a flamethrower type spell, but they gutted it. It's completely useless. I highly recommend you to not bother with this one. Flicker Bolt is much better. More cost efficient, more damage, just the better spell. The Wintercrone's Wrath has a spirituality requirement of 6. The Thunderlash has a spirituality requirement of I don't know, because for some reason I cannot look it up. So maybe it has a requirement of 0. Scorching Blaze, which I have used to ragdoll that wolf, is a requirement 12 spell. And then you have Scorching Pathway, which is 18, as well as Merlin's Thorn for 9, and Mother's Embrace with 10. Wintercrone's Wrath, Thunderlash, as well as Scorching Blaze can be easily acquired by clearing up the abandoned stronghold right here. So for this, you run north until you reach the stronghold. The enemies here are pretty beefy, but with your lash, you should be able to handle them. It will take a little bit of time, a little bit of tactical planning. But once you have this one done, you can easily free amazing spells here. The lash will be on this door right here. Then you run up here, jump down here, and in one of the chests, I think in this one, you will find the Wrath spell, so the ice spell, the ice shotgun. And the last spell, the Scorching Blaze, should be in this chest right here. Once you have those 3 spells, you basically don't need anything else. But we will still grab a few more spells, because why not? We really, really like spells. Right here is a merchant. This merchant sells you the Mother's Embrace or the heal spell. Here is a Druidic Shrine. You can also offer something here. So you can then grab Calm Animals. This will, well, basically be useless for you because you want to do damage and not, well, calm down animals, but it's useful sometimes. And then you have your Scorching Pathways. Now, Scorching Pathway, this spell has a requirement of 18. It is found in this location, the Crypt of Seval Firstfoot. It's a very small dungeon. You will find it right away by just exploring the dungeon, so I don't want to run to this location. And you will also find a summon there, Summon Keeper. I personally don't like summons, especially not on this build, because they reserve mana. But you can use it especially early because it's a powerful spell. So for this one, Sunken Village, run all the way here, past all the undead, grab the spell, and you're golden. But you won't be able to use it until very, very late in the game, or in the early game. And the last spell on the chopping block is right here in Andreste's crew hideout. Now to get to this one, you need to swim. There is a quest in the village right here. You can talk to a lady in a corner in the tavern. She will give you a book, and you can then swim all the way to this spire here, to this cliff, walk inside this dungeon, and then open all the chests. Right before the boss of this hideout, you will find a chest with the spell inside. The spell is really powerful, especially for the early game. However, the other spells I found to be much more useful and much more powerful for the cost and the charge up time. Now I will show you all the spells. First up, we have our Scorching Blaze, so we can target someone and it will ragdoll them like this. We can charge up the attack and it will follow them and ragdoll them even further. Then right here we have our shotgun, so we run up to our enemies like this and then blast them like this. Really cool spell, really powerful, one of my favorites. You can also charge up the attack with this one to shoot out a silent missile. So this one you can use to ambush enemies without alerting other enemies. Next up, the Arc Lash. The Arc Lash and the Flicker Bolt look basically the same, except the Arc Lash is blue and this one is purple. And the enemy is down. You can charge up this attack to chain lightning enemies. Looks the same. Then we have the Blaze. The Blaze spell, you charge up, release, and it deals a massive amount of damage. It's an AoE. If you don't charge it up, it looks like this. Just a cut. You can pause the game by going into inventory. You can change your spells to something else mid-combat. It really doesn't matter, so you don't actually need to prepare a loadout. You can do it mid-fight. With a staff, you can block. This spell is basically a charged-up version with, well, Arcane Missile. Or you can shoot out a projectile that tracks enemies and follows them a little bit. Curves deals, well, okayish damage. There is better. It shoots really slowly. So this spell is really, really strong once you get it, but it is worse than the other spells I have showcased you. Mother's Embrace is basically just a heal. You charge it up, you release it heals you for mana, and that's about it for spells. Next up, a Bonfire, and we'll fuel it so enemies don't ambush us. We can level up, and now we will look at the skill tree. Now, for the skill tree, we have nothing in strength, nothing in endurance, nothing in dexterity. Spirituality, we focus on wands by going into 3 points Arcane Conduit for 45% magical power and 1.5 increased strong effects on wands. Why do we do that? Because our spells have quite the hefty amount of mana cost. So once you look at a spell, you will see in white the base cost and the base damage of a spell, and once it's modified, you see the green value here. Everything in this build included, you will reduce the mana cost of Scorching Blaze from 90 to 40, which is much more manageable and much more fun to play with. Without the wand, without anything in this build, you will have a much higher mana cost. You can upgrade the wands to reduce the mana cost even further, which I highly recommend. You pair this mana cost wand with all the high mana cost spells. For Wintercrone's Embrace, we use the Wand of Piercing Cold, which allows us to freeze enemies basically instantly with the spell. It has low mana cost anyway, so it's great to use on this one. Now, for the early game, I respect and tried a few things. The Arcane Teachings will buff your damage immensely, so I highly recommend putting 5 points into this right away. Don't bother with anything else, it will help you much more to have more damage early. Once you have your spells set up, you can go with Charged Cantrip as well as Infused Incantation. For bosses, you want to use the following rotation. First, you freeze enemies with the shotgun, then you change to a Scorching Blaze and you fire one shot or a charged shot, doesn't really matter, it deals amazing damage anyway, because frozen enemies receive 100% additional damage, which is a more multiplier by any damage. Meaning, if we use our Scorching Blast for 208 damage, on a target that's frozen, we deal 400 damage, which is just insane. That's a massive amount of damage and will one-shot basically anything currently, and we can scale this even further. Now, because we used a multi-hit spell that has a high crit chance because of Charged Cantrip, that has a low mana cost, and used Infused Incantation after that, which is our Blaze spell. It deals 25% more damage. We crit a target. We apply a 30% more damage taken on enemies because we crit with our shotgun. And then later on, we can also go into practicality, into statuses. If there's an active status on an enemy, they receive 30% additional damage. If there's more enemies with debuffs, they receive 30% more damage. So there's a lot of more multipliers in the game. We pick up Embittered, not because we need it, but because of this 10% more damage multiplier, because of elemental statuses. We pick up Elemental Shock for 45% additional elemental damage, and Overkill to spread the single target damage to enemies around the target. So once they are killed with a shotgun like this and a beer, gameplay would look like this. They cannot move. It is basically impossible for them to move. We freeze them like this. We can use our bolt or chain lightning. Doesn't really matter. One-shot everything. They're constantly frozen. So gameplay looks really nifty, really strong. So once that is done, we are going to look at multiple armor sets. I will show you the locations and where to acquire the armor and in what order. First up, we are going to look at the Traveler's Pants and the Traveler's Boots. Those can be found at the Arc Spire. So the Arc Spire looks like this. We want to walk from the teleporter up here, across the bridge, drop down here, and right next to this one here, there's going to be a dude. This one will have the Burning Torrent as well as the Traveler's Clothes. There will be an enemy that you need to defeat here. Otherwise, you can just basically loot him and then jump down. You don't need to defeat him if you are not in the mood for that. So this set requires 2 endurance. Next up is the Worn Druid Pants. All of the set items give you mana regeneration. You will find a hovel right here, guarded by some enemies. You can run inside. There will be a corpse on the ground that you can loot, and it will have the armor set on it. This requires 3 spirituality. Next up, the Faded Hood I showed you previously is right here. Underneath the bridge, there will be a noble mage. This one you are going to defeat. He will drop the staff I previously showed, as well as the Faded Hood. Once you have this one requires 5 spirituality. Once you have this one, there is going to be a camp right here with a chest around here. This chest contains the whole set of the Spellslinger armor set. The Spellslinger armor set is really, really good. Gives you mana regeneration on the head, 30 spell power on the chest, 15 spell power on the gloves with upgrades going by 1%, 20 mana on the pants, and 15 spell power on the boots. So a really strong set. Now, once you have that set, you're going to look at the Waning Moon set. The Waning Moon set provides you with a ton of mana regeneration. Same for the pants, mana and mana regeneration not in combat. Those can be acquired by sacrificing monster parts at druidic shrines. There is one here, there is one here, there is another one here, another one here, another one here, another one here, right underneath this river, and another one here. You will get at this specific shrine here the Waning Moon Amulet, and at this specific shrine you will get the Calm Animal spell. All other shrines should give you armor. I am not 100% sure which shrine gives you which armor piece, but they will require 6 endurance, 6 spirituality. Once you have that set, you're going to expand into the Battle Mage Hood and Battle Mage set. Now this set provides you with spell power, spell crit, mana regeneration, so a ton of positive, nice items. But currently I have this set because it's upgraded higher, so I am a little bit better with this set. Once I upgrade the other set, I will be golden and switch to that. This set can be found at the Tomb of the Good Druid. It's basically the end of dungeon reward, so you run around, explore everything. It's in a chest inside this dungeon. Now for the rings, you have the Ring of Toughness, which is gained by escaping from the asylum. Automatically, it's unmissable. Then we have the Novice Ring. The Novice Ring, there is a chest right here underneath the ground next to this druidic shrine. You need to dig it up and you will find this specific ring. Or once you don't need the mana regeneration, you can switch to the Perilous Orb, 7% crit chance. Where do we get it? We are at the King's Road teleporter right here. This is the bridge. We go down here, whoop, 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 and in this chest you will find the Perilous Ring +2. 7% crit globally for everything. There is also a lot of enemies you can farm here for a little bit of cash. Next up is going to be the Priestress Cape. This one is the best in slot cape for this build because it regenerates your maximum mana percentage based. It increases by upgrade levels. So at base it only has 1 max mana per second. At +9 it has +6. At this All Mother Shrine right here there is a Priestress dead on the ground. Just loot her and you will find the cape. For the amulet there is 2 possible amulets. The Amulet of Waning Moon gives you 10% spell power, magical crit chance, and maximum mana. A goated amulet. It is located right here at this druidic shrine. Just interact with this shrine and you will get the amulet. Another really good amulet is this one, Arcane Weaver's Prism +1. Gives you 2 mana regeneration. Really good early game. There's going to be a chest right here, guarded by 2 guards. Those should be easily dealt with your Chain Lightning spell. You can find the chest, I think, right here. Once you have it, you should be using this one early game because you don't have the necessary stats to sustain your mana. But with this one, you should be golden. And once you're good with your mana regeneration, you can switch to the Waning Moon Amulet. Last one, the weapons. The Silent Weaver, as mentioned before, there is a chest. You can dig it up right here. The Staff of Otilia can be found by defeating this noble underneath the bridge right here. And the Wand of Piercing Cold can be acquired from a quest. This quest is located right here at the deserted settlement. There is also a teleporter here. It's the second quest in this quest line. So the first one, you need to bring him 6 tongues of some kind of enemy and then an eye. The eye can be looted from enemies either in the Blood Lake or in this dungeon right here. This is also a quest dungeon, so it's not unlocked until later. But the Blood Lake, you just need to defeat 1 enemy, run down the dungeon, and you will find enemies with a big eye. But defeat them and you will find the eye you need for this specific staff. And one of the last tips, you can sneak to enemies, then charge up an attack like so, and you will apply sneak damage to them. For this one, you don't actually need to sneak. You can just run by enemies. If they are unaware of you, you will receive the sneak damage, which is pretty nifty for example, other enemies. So you can just run to them. If they don't recognize you as an enemy right away, you can whoop, touch them and they're dead. So really, really nice. You can sneak around. It's basically a sneak mage. Now, this sums up the video. If you liked what you saw, make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you have not already. So thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye.